I will be adding my own tweets. Just give me a second. We'll start soon. Um, as always, this is a recorded space. So you do decide to want to come up and speak and talk about like New Japan. Um, just make sure you don't say anything that's like inappropriate or like incriminating. Those are the only things that I ask for is not to have any of those in my space. And we keep it lighthearted, and one person's opinion is one person's opinion. Um, what up, Kenzie?
Hey, hey, hey.
How are you
I
doing?
am good. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, man. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna get started in a moment. I'm just
And Super
trying to
Junior
put out.
starts tonight, right?
It actually already happened. It happened at like, okay, so I woke up like at 6 in the morning. So, uh, 4 in the morning U.S. time, or five or
All
five in the
right, and
morning
that was the
U.S.
first
time.
round, right? Block
Yes.
A? Okay, then I'll watch Block A in a little bit then, because I got the New Japan World, so.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what they did was they did matches from both Block A and Block B,
Hmm.
and then that's yeah. This time around for Best of the Super Juniors, it's gonna be 12 freaking days. From today, March, not March. Oh my God, May 12th to May 28th ish. Within a whole month to decide who's gonna be Best of the Super Juniors. So there's no other matches. There's no other. Everyone is like taking a little mini break.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Mike
So
Bailey's in it. I'm excited for that.
yeah, he's in it. I want to ask you before like we continue. Uh, it's because like I know you didn't see the whole event. I don't want to spoil anything for
Oh,
you.
no, go. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I'm going to watch it anyways.
Okay, okay, cool. I just want to make sure at
No,
least
it's
I was
totally
here.
fine.
Okay.
I love spoilers.
All right, no problem, man. I could rock with that too, because I if someone tells me a spoiler, that's fine. If I could see how it happened, I could be like, okay, cool, awesome, great. I'm with that. All right, cool. I mean, if you guys can to either like retweet the room or tell people that I am doing the Twitter space. I don't really do this at all, which I miss doing Twitter spaces. I would usually live stream, but I'm like, I don't feel like setting everything up to do that. So I'd rather talk with you guys because I miss talking with the wrestling community,
Definitely.
the people in here. All right, I guess as I continue or whatever, we'll go through it. So this is a live recorded space of the Square Circle podcast by your host Marie Shadows, and we're going to be going over the opening day of Best of the Super Juniors for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was held at Kurikan Hall. And by the way, I'm going to be like super biased, but Kurikan Hall has the best fans when it comes to like New Japan Pro Wrestling. I just love the atmosphere of Kurikan Hall and like all the energy they bring, and it was really sold out. It was really packed. And now that restrictions are lifted in Japan, wrestlers can now fight within the crowd. Wrestlers can now like do the normal shit that they were doing pre-COVID. So the one amazing thing is that our main events for night one, which we're going to start backwards because I think this is the most important one to highlight, is Mike Bailey versus Hiromu Takahashi in the main event at Kurikan Hall. And that match was like really good. Uh Spoiler alert for people out there. Mike Bailey did win his match against Hiromu. So that means that Mike Bailey has 2 points in Best of the Super Juniors. If you guys don't know yet, Best of the Super Juniors is tallied by point system. So that means that if you get a pin or a submission, it is 2 points. If you get a count out, that's 1 point. And then if you decide to use a chair and the referee sees it and the referee calls for a DQ or a no contest, you will not get any points for that match.
How do
Uh,
you lose points?
you really don't. I mean, the only way that you can lose points is if the referee at his discretion will be like, all right, we're going to take that point away. But you would have to do something evil and dastardly bad to get a point taken away.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like you would have to do something really despicable where it goes against that tradition of you have to somehow have like honor still while you're having a wrestling match. You know what I mean? Like, for example, right? I know I'm gonna be jumping around, but at the end of Block B match with Clark Connors versus Kevin Knight, Clark Connors decided to take the chair and hit Kevin Knight over the back, and this is after the match. No points were deducted from him. But I mean, if you do something, I guess, greater, they may or may not, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they got a tag version too, right?
Yeah, they have Best of the Super Juniors for the tag team division, which
And they
is
haven't done the tag team yet.
they I want to say they did because
That
or
was the
not
one
yet.
Chris Bay and Ace Austin was in, right?
No, Chris Bay and Ace Austin was in Best of the Super Juniors for last year.
Yeah, and they almost won.
Yeah, man, that was great, man. I
That was
wish.
great. They almost won, and I said, I said if New Japan pushed those two guys like that, those guys, you know what I mean? They're
Oh
gonna
man,
be,
yeah,
yeah, they're on their
dude.
way, man.
Like, I have nothing against the wrestlers that are in Block A and Block B for this year, and there might have been like, some backstage stuff, some like, visa stuff or whatever the case may be, right? But I was like, man, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, like, they are two of the best athletes to like watch, especially now that they're both of them are in Bullet Club. But Bullet Club's a whole nother like subject that's gonna get like complicated, so we'll save that for a little bit later. But I really wish that they were in Best of the Super Juniors 30 because both of them are so fucking great, man. So great. But I don't get to pick the cards. If I got to pick the cards, I'll be like, yo, they have to like, come on this tour, right? Like I would seriously just advocate for the both of them to be like, hey, we need them on this tour. We need some fresh faces. I'm not sure if you saw the press conference. I don't know why I'm getting your feedback. I don't know if you saw the press conference.
The press
But
conference.
yeah, for Best of the Super Juniors, there's always a press conference before Best of the
I
Super
haven't
Juniors.
caught anything yet, but
Uh,
like I said, I plan to catch it in a good minute.
Yeah, so I was gonna bring up this thing is that during the press conference TJP was like, oh, where's Alex Zane? And I was like, that is true. Where is this guy? Like he should be in the Best of Super Juniors as well, like he was last time. And when he was in last year's Best of the Super Juniors, all the Japanese wrestlers were like, you're not a Super Junior, why are you in here? Like it was the most like fun thing to watch.
Yeah,
Really fun.
because Alex Zane, I mean, he's a big dude.
He is.
But I don't. But so because when I see him in the Super Juniors, I'm like, no way. Because Super Juniors is what 205,
Give or take, like if you really want to think about it in those terms, yeah. Like
205
205,
and less. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He looked about at least 125 at the least.
Yeah, man. He had that muscle too. And like I said, the Japanese wrestlers when he was facing them, they were all like, you don't hit like a junior heavyweight, you hit like a heavyweight. They were all so confused. I loved it. It was great. Um But yeah, talking back to opening night of Best of the Super Juniors. If anyone has not yet checked it out. But Mike Bailey versus Hiromu was a really, really good match. The crowd actually missed Mike Bailey. If you guys don't know, before he got like his visa straightened out back in the day, he was actually in Japan for at least like I forgot how many years it is, but he was there for a good amount of years before he was able to like re-enter um I'm probably going to get this wrong, and someone's probably going to correct me, but re-enter either the United States or Canada, one of those two. It's been kind of fuzzy, and I probably should have brushed up on my research and my history, but I do know that the crowd has definitely missed Mike Bailey to be wrestling for them. So, the crowd was, chanting his name and stuff, and Hiromu let that happen. It was a battle of like kicks. Hiromu did not know what to expect. This wasn't like Hiromu versus Minoru Suzuki during that G1 match that they had. There was a lot of Hiromu doing Hiromu stuff. Basically, Hiromu being the ticking time bomb that he is, because he's also very crafty and very what's the word I'm looking for? Not ambitious. We all know he's ambitious, but he's very persistent, and he has a lot of endurance. Mike Bailey catches him with those double knees all the time. Which, by the way, I don't know how Mike Bailey does not have like two fake knees at this point. Like, I don't know what he does. He probably has like some thing with his knees, like some spell over his knees where like he doesn't have to go to the hospital for shit. Like, I just don't understand. I really don't. His double knees attack, man. And then this was the match that I was telling you that they were fighting into the crowd because Hiromu was like, "Yeah, let's go crazy." And Hiromu ends up doing a suplex to Mike Bailey and then a shotgun drop kick while the fans are all watching. And it was always great to see fans and stuff. But in the end, Mike Bailey won with the Ultima weapon, which is a double knee move from the top rope and down onto Hiromu's back, not even his stomach, but his back. And got the 1, 2, 3, which surprised me. So, like I said, Mike Bailey advances for like 2 points, not for like
Oh,
two points. Yeah.
and I'm a big Mike Bailey fan. Like I was a Mike Bailey fan when like he was. I know he still does them, but like his early PWG days, like oh my gosh, I've been a fan of him for a while. But I heard before he had visa problems, because then that's why he was gone for so long, right?
Yeah.
Because his
Yeah.
visa
Yeah.
problems, I believe. I don't want to put out bad information, but I believe it was a
Yeah,
visa issue.
exactly. That's why I was like, I know someone's gonna correct me, and I should have did a little more research. But I remember it was
Yeah,
something with like visa stuff, and that's why I had to like lean into the crowd like missing him. And by the
because
way, oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say because don't know if it's true, but I heard two stories. I heard before the visa thing, the WWE who is supposed to be at the performance center, like they're very interested.
Uh huh.
I heard that, and I also heard because Impact Scott D'Amore said it that they were going to sign him at a point in time. So I mean, he had offers out there, and unfortunately, if that was the case,
Yeah, yeah.
that happened.
It happens. It happens. As far as I know, when I talk to wrestlers or I hear stories about them having trouble with like visas and like the process and stuff, it's always frustrating, but at least like it gets done. But now that he's here in like New Japan to show off, and I was gonna say that he does end up talking in Japanese, which is like pretty cool to hear.
Oh, Mike
Um,
Bailey does.
yeah, he ended because when you're at the main event and you win, you give a post match speech to the crowd, and then you do one backstage again. So he was talking in Japanese.
The whole time.
Yeah,
That's incredible. I like that,
yeah, he knows.
and that's respect.
It is. It is. It is because Japanese is hard to learn depending on like how long like how you end up studying it and stuff. It's obviously it's conversational that he knows. So he talked in English, in French and also in Japanese. So yeah, that's what he was doing.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So after that, we'll just work our way back. Our semi main event was Block B. Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus El Desperado. These guys are no longer bonded by Suzuki Gun, because Suzuki Gun has been broken up. So they're on their different paths. They're on their different ways. And
Yeah, I remember he gave that speech. He ended Suzuki Gun.
yeah, Yoshinobu is with just five guys, and don't get me started with that fucking name. I have a lot of questions for Tana. No, I'm sorry, wrong person. For Taka. Guys, don't get on me for just mispronouncing like one letter. I have a lot of questions for Taka for naming the group just five guys. And then El Desperado is still with Suzuki, and they also have Ren Narita with them. Unfortunately, like this is side news. They are no longer the six-man tag team champions, meaning Suzuki, Dusty, and Ren Narita. Those six-man title belts went over to the dream team of Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii, which is crazy to even think about.
Wow.
Yeah, so that happened. I guess you got to
Now
keep
I
that
know
person
my
in Hall of Fame.
guy joined Bullet Club. Um, how did I forget his name?
Are you talking about?
Clark Connors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna get to him. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now.
Yeah. If Clark ever listens to this, he's my buddy. He's my dude.
Yeah.
Um, so with Yoshinobu versus Despy, this match is for every wrestler out there that does mostly flips. And I'm sorry to single you guys out, and this is a recorded thing, and you're gonna hear it. But that match, please study that match. That match is a masterclass of what it means to work on a body part. You know that old phrase of a work a hold kid. Like this match was the epitome of work a hold kid. Like seriously, I love professional wrestling. I love different styles. If you can be a hybrid of different styles, you're gonna go far because you have the ability to not only prolong your wrestling career, because you're not gonna get as many like injuries per se, even though injuries can happen, but it'll be less of them. But Yoshinobu and El Desperado basically taught a very important lesson of working a body part will get your opponent to tap out. So Yoshinobu was constantly working on El Desperado's knees and legs, and constantly doing the figure four leg lock. And then when they were on the outside, Yoshinobu would utilize the floor. And as you guys know, New Japan does not really invest in really thicker mats or the guardrail. So he would just liberally like take Desperado's knee and like slam it into the ground, use the to his advantage. But that doesn't mean that El Desperado didn't get any offense in. El Desperado did get offense in, and they were both evenly matched. They fought each other so many times that El Desperado knew what he was signing up for. Yoshinobu was like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna fight you, and I'm gonna go on to the next round. But in the end, when you work a hold, when you basically do wrestling moves on a body part, you will get that victory. And this is what happened. Yoshinobu ended up getting the 2-point victory by having El Desperado tap out to the figure four leg lock, because over time Yoshinobu worked that knee, worked that leg. And I'm just saying that, as a general advice for all the up and coming wrestlers, it's like, guys, it's not for you guys to completely take away your high flying ability. You guys are like athletes and awesome, and you do great, amazing things. I just care about your longevity in this business, because if you really believe in this business and want to go 100% and even maybe 110%, think a little bit better about your arsenal. Think a little bit better about your character and how you can prolong your career, so that way people like me or other podcasters can talk about you guys in like a very positive light and be like, oh, see how far they come. Oh, they started out like this, like a high flyer with like no psychology behind it, but in 3 months time they're like a completely different character and they learn how to change with the times. So I don't want anybody to come after me to be like, oh, I'm trying to change people. No, make sure that your work, your body of work is a hybrid. So that way you can have that Hall of Fame career and not just be like, oh, you're a high flyer. Okay, cool. Because then the worst can happen when you're just one thing and you can't adapt or maneuver into something new. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be, you might be afraid, but don't worry. The unknown makes you a better person. I get a little
No,
passionate because
that's
sometimes,
good.
yeah, because sometimes, when I hear other wrestlers talk about when they get on other podcasters, like I can understand why they get on other podcasters, but like my whole thing with the Square Circle podcast is to offer a different perspective onto like why, I love this business and why I want wrestlers to have a prolonged career so I could talk about it and be like, yo, you better jump on the bandwagon now, or else like, I just want to make sure people out there know. Yeah, you're on my
Yeah.
podcast right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're a great podcaster. I mean, you great talker. I mean, you're better than most.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I tend
Yeah.
to look for like how can I help elevate either the young wrestlers coming in or the wrestlers who's been doing this for a while, because sometimes you get trapped in that tunnel vision of like you've been doing it for so long that sometimes people become stale in this business and then they're like, oh, what can I do to improve? And then everyone else, it will give them the same response of like, oh, you're good, man, don't worry about it, you're good. But then someone like me or you or my buddy CJ here, might tell them something and it'll just turn on a switch and they'll be like, oh shit, I didn't see it from that perspective. I didn't see it from the other side because they've been on that tunnel vision for so long. So if I can really tell people that they need to study Yoshinobu versus El Desperado to learn how to at least prolong their career and not get so many injuries, I think I did a good job.
No, you did. You
That's my
did.
whole
See,
goal.
um, I'm not a good talker. I'm
Oh,
a
it's a
horrible talker. I'm a horrible talker, so that's why podcasting doesn't really work for me. I'm one of those. I have social anxiety, so I'm like one of those people where if you start a conversation with me, I could follow, but I couldn't
yeah.
start a conversation with you.
Oh, okay, okay, I got
I'm
it.
one
I
of
got
those
it.
people. Yeah. So
Dude, dude, I'll tell you something right now. Like at least 30 minutes before deciding to do this Twitter space, all my nerves came up and it was like, why are you gonna do a Twitter space? You don't need to do a Twitter space. Who's gonna come in here? Blah blah blah. Like all this shit happened, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do a Twitter space. And CJ, I sent you a invite to speak if you want to. It's been so long since like we've actually spoken, man. I don't know if you're on your phone or on the laptop, but if you're on the laptop, you won't be able to become a speaker. But you always have that option there, man, because we haven't spoken in freaking years. It feels like years. Um,
yeah, but I wouldn't worry about this. I tell people all the time. There are spaces that has 3 people in it. There are spaces with only 2 people in it. If you start a space and nobody comes in it, and you just keep starting it and leave it open for a little bit, sooner or later people will start coming in because people will start seeing it. It just takes patience and time.
oh yeah, that is 100% true. Definitely, I'm gonna have to agree on all fronts. It's the same way of how we all grew Gabe spaces and stuff. Same way.
Yeah, I mean, I gained a lot of followers going in Gabe Space, and I learned a lot going in Gabe Space. I really like Gabe Spaces, and I know they're not every day, but I wish. And before Gabe did that, I'd said, if wrestling promotions and people in the business where every once in a while start a space to connect with fans. I think if the WWE account one day started a space,
Yeah.
connect with their fans. or AEW or Impact Wrestling to start a space to talk with their fans. Or you don't even got to bring people in, just, you know what I mean? Keep
Yeah,
people in tune. I think that would really help out a lot. I think it's great what Gabe does once again.
yeah. And we've also had that talk too. I remember us having that talk and me agreeing with you that the
Yes,
promotions
I
should
remember that.
yeah, should definitely take advantage of using Twitter Spaces and stuff just to promote their shows, just to talk about the recent like trendy news topics and stuff like
Yes.
that. But
I
let's get. Oh, go ahead. Dude. Go ahead.
no, that was the last thing I was gonna say. That's one thing I want to get back into doing is spaces, because I remember when I used to do spaces, I would connect with fans, and wrestlers would sometimes come in. Like we had Kerry Silkin come in one time, and I
Yeah,
just want to go back to doing that. Just to bring people together to talk about wrestling.
yeah, man. I definitely agree with that. So after Block B, we go to a Block A match, which is TJP, one half of Cash 22 of the United Empire versus Teton. By the way, I don't know why we call him Teton. It's spelled Titan, but because he's Mexican and he's representing CMLL and also representing LIJ, we say Teton. Just please put the accent over the A. It'll be Teton. This was a very interesting lucha style match with the chain wrestling, the high speed action. Both TJP and Teton like know each other very well. So it was a really feel good match of like who can get the one up on the other person. Um, TJP does his awesome Mamba splash, but this time around, Teton was on the top rope, so he ended up doing it from like the top rope, going on to Teton, and then like falling out to the outside. There was the springboard DDT to Teton by TJP. However, I will say that this match is kind of surprising when you get towards the end because man, I was not expecting what happened because in the previous match when I was explaining to you guys about like work a hold kid, this match did not really have work a hold kid, but um Teton managed to put in a really deep like Muda lock, like that submission, like on his not on his own, but in his own like style because it was a little bit deeper than what it's supposed to be because TJP does the same thing. So as
Love
Teton is like really
TJP.
yeah, he's really good. So as like Teton is like extending TJP to like bend a little bit more backwards, TJP immediately tapped out. And I was like, what? Like it was one of those things like, TJP decided to live to fight another day, to give up to give up the 2 points. The match was definitely like a back and forth, like who can one up who, and Teton managed to do that. So Teton managed to get his first 2 points for the opening night of Best of the Super Juniors 30, which was like whoa. Going to Block B, we had Robbie Eagles versus Yo. Robbie Eagles is, I guess, the newest member. Not really. I guess he's part of team TMDK. He joined up with them. So now he represents them. Yo still represents Chaos. Um, Yo's a little bit different, and I think that's because he's been teaming with Leo Rush for a while. So Yo is now starting to get like a character and also a like an aggressiveness about him, which I'm like, this is interesting because a couple months ago he wasn't really like that, but he's been teaming with Leo Rush. This was a very good match, a solid match, chain wrestling into like fast pace. Robbie Eagles was definitely working, Yo's legs in order to get the victory because, as you guys know, Robbie Eagles' finisher is the Ron Miller special. And by the way, if you guys have not heard my interview with Robbie Eagles, it is currently on Spotify. There is a playlist called a Chit Chat series that has all of my interviews with all of my wrestlers. Well, not
Oh
my
wow.
wrestlers. Yeah.
I wish I would have saved man, I told you my Thunder Rosa story, but yeah, I wish I would have saved what I did then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that was before Thunder Rose was who she is today. Because I still look back at that and I'm like, man, I really got through that interview.
Man, we all start somewhere, but yeah, if you guys have not heard my interview with Robbie Eagles, you can either search Square Circle Podcast on Spotify or search up the playlist that says a chit chat series or a chit chat interview series. And again, all of my interviews are there. But yeah, Robbie Eagles has a finisher called the Ron Miller Special. And by the way, I had to look up who Ron Miller is, and I do say this during my interview with him. And Ron Miller was an Australian wrestler that was really good for his time. And I was like, this is some amazing matches, and I'm watching with him, and I'm getting super excited over the tiniest of things, man. Like the tiniest of things get me excited in wrestling, especially when it comes to very good fundamental chain wrestling, mat wrestling, technical wrestling. That's just how I roll. So he named his submission, his leg submission, the Ron Miller special. And he's been working Yo's knee the whole entire match, especially doing this cool ass thing where Yo is going to like super kick him, but because Robbie is short, and if Robbie Eagles hears this, don't take offense, buddy, because I'm short as well. Because like he was short and ducked down, he gave his own super kick to Yo's inner knee. So basically his left knee. And then like that's when you hear the crowd do like this hush where it was like, oh shit, that's some serious thing. Um Robbie Eagles does do like a 450 on Yo's knee just to like keep fucking that thing up. And then he does a springboard drop kick and ends it with a kick to the back of Yo's head for Robbie Eagles to get 2 points. Yo, Robbie Eagles is not playing this year for Best of the Super Juniors. So he might be on everyone's card to like win. Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Robbie Eagles.
Yeah,
And
man.
Robbie Eagles has been wrestling longer than people think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has. He also trains wrestlers too back
Yeah.
in
I like
yeah.
Robbie Eagles.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool.
Robbie
Um
Eagles is pretty cool. I got to see him one time and have a chat when he was at an autograph session up here in Minnesota one time. And I ran into him.
oh, that's so cool, man. That really
Yeah.
is. That's so cool. He was teaching me some like Australian slang, and I remember like if you ever go watch my interview with him, he basically says the word chin wag, and I was like, sir, it's not even like 5 minutes into the interview. What are you talking about? Like I don't know these slang words, you know. Um, but it was fun. It was fun. He's a good
Oh,
dude. He's a good dude. All
yeah,
right.
he's a good dude. He's a really good dude. You know, Ishimori now,
Uh huh.
Taiji Ishimori now. I remember when he was the X Division champion, man. When they brought him over from All Japan, I think it was. No, Noah. They brought him over from Noah.
Yeah, that's so long ago.
Yeah, it's crazy how long ago that was.
Yeah, man, that's so long ago.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
man,
crazy when you think about that. I just be seeing. I'm like, man, it's really been that long.
and you know that Taiji is 40, right?
He's 40,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, he's 40.
So he would have had to be in his mid early 30s when he was doing that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not really good in math. That's why I have
me
a
neither.
writing degree.
Right, me neither. I've always been a better reader and writer
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same, same,
than
same.
that.
But for people that are going to be listening to this after the fact, I do know that 2 plus 2 is 4. So don't try to get on me. Trying to make some stupid ass jokes about math. Okay. All right. The next match after that one, you're gonna enjoy this one when you watch it. And I'll just hype it up. So it's Block A. It's Show from House of Torture versus Leo Rush. Now, for anybody that has been following New Japan for a long while, right? This is where I said the complexity of Bullet Club comes in because man, if somebody could send this to like David Finley, David, please kick out House of Torture under the Bullet Club banner because it makes no fucking sense now that they're still there. Everyone else gets kicked out except for House of Torture. How does that make sense? House of Torture, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's a household name. Despite like you guys hating on House of Torture and hating on Evil, they're a household name. Even Japan.
Yeah,
Um,
I have this conversation with people all the time, and I
okay, I
always
want to hear
tell
it.
people, us American fans can feel a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, those Japanese fans is a whole different world.
Oh, it is. Which I will expand more on that as you say that because even in Japan, right? You'll get the areas where like the crowd will be completely silent whenever like House of Torture comes out, right? So normally in Japan, that's supposed to be a good sign either way, but like you could tell they're fed up with like all the shenanigans, all the cheating, and then like when you come to Kurikan Hall, everyone is super loud and boisterous, so like, it's a different atmosphere. But I say that it's they're a household name because no matter where they go, they get a reaction and they still do the same things and they still sell out merchandise and people still want to see them. People cosplay as I show more than anybody else. Like no one else cosplays the other players. But I'm just saying other players. Oh my god, I sound like I sound like something in a way. The other wrestlers, but like I don't understand why we need a group within a group that is House of Torture that doesn't contribute to Bullet Club. That's why I would be like, yo, you guys don't need it. Like if they left Bullet Club tomorrow, they'll be fine. They're not gonna crumble. Like I said, they're a household name. So if somebody could send this to David Finley, David, please kick out House of Torture. Like convince Gato to kick out House of Torture. Because they don't need to be in Bullet Club anymore. They're done.
No, they,
Um,
they yeah, they need to be out of Bullet Club. I agree with that. I still don't understand. I forget they're still a part because I still don't understand. You know what I mean? Like they don't even rep Bullet Club anymore.
it's weird. Okay,
It's like
like
they
it's
don't throw up the
weird.
two sweet. They don't say they don't rep do anything Bullet Club no more. It's all House of Torture, which is why I say House of Torture should be their own thing.
Yeah, and like I said, they will survive on their own. They don't need Bullet Club anymore. But I mean, not to really like push anything, but like seriously, New Japan, like Bullet Club. I mean, Bullet Club is becoming something different. House of Torture has like always been the same, and I understand why they still do the same antics. But at the end of the day, it's like they don't need to represent Bullet Club. They don't. Anyway, that is my whole pleading for to get House of Torture out. So, like I was saying with this match with Show versus Leo Rush, now that you know that not Bullet Club, that House of Torture does very evil things and very old school blindside attacks and stuff like that. Leo Rush came prepared in a way. Leo Rush definitely proved himself that he could take on like evil and Show because House of Torture members are not too far behind. I'm surprised Dick Togo didn't like shut off the lights this time like he always does. And then I could make the joke of like, yo, who didn't pay the light bill for like New Japan? But I didn't get to make my joke today until now. But Leo Rush, man, he went from 0 to 100 in this match with Show. It was all shenanigans. It was all fun. It was a very feel good match, and it really propped it up the baby face being Leo Rush because he's part of Chaos now. So him being a baby face really helped. And the Kirk Hall crowd helped this match. Even though the Kirk Hall crowd was like, um, they sort of felt defeated because they were like, oh, it's gonna be the same results. No, it's not. Leo Rush held his own, even with so many distractions and stuff. Leo managed to pull out the victory against Show, which was kind of fantastic and kind of like, okay, this is gonna be quite interesting. Let me see what I have here in my notes. What do I have? What do I have? Okay, so like there was this instant where uh Joe couldn't catch Leo because Leo rushes way too fast and dodging him. So Show was like, I'm gonna throw the referee in the way. So there goes the first referee bump of the fucking night. And then we get a spear. And then oh yeah, Show spears Leo Rush. House of Torture goes against Leo, but Leo does a low blow to Evil, and the Kirk and Hall crowd was like, "Yay!" Because Evil deserves low blows apparently, according to the crowd. And Leo does use the wrench, but no one saw anything. Then the splash comes, and then Leo ends up getting the victory and getting 2 points to in Best of the Super Juniors. So it was a very fun match, very entertaining match because House of Torture does that shit. But other than
Yeah,
that,
House of Torture. I'm just they annoy me sometimes, but I love Evil. Evil grew on me. I was no fan of Evil for a while.
yeah, I
Like
can I
even
can
when he
agree
was in
with
Ring
that.
of Honor, I was no fan. But years later, Evil grew on me.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do like the fact that Evil has his own team, which is House of Torture, even though they like, do all of the evil things and they distract in a lot of stuff, but that goes towards Dick Togo because he's a legend in his business, whether people know it or not, but he was in ECW, like he wrestled in the States for a bit and stuff. So he understands that what wrestlers did back in the day to get that heel heat, he brings it over to Japan. And because Japan is not as like, how can I say this? Because like us American fans, we know too much. Japanese fans keep it all kayfabe. So he's able to do all those distractions, all that heel tactic over in Japan because he knows that like the fans it's gonna be kayfabe and it's gonna be fun. There are times where like it's fun to watch a House of Torture match. Which, by the way, don't give me shit for that. For anyone that's listening, but it's fun sometimes to watch a House of Torture match. But if you get too much of House of Torture matches, you're like, I'm so done. You know?
No, I hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, So we're coming up to the last two matches. Before we do that, I have to plug in some ads because I gotta pay some bills and stuff like that, and then I'll come back around at the end to re-mention them. But if you guys have not yet ordered my wrestling planner, which I made for content creators, wrestlers, fans, what it is that it is it's not a workbook. Damn you, brain. That's not what I want to say. It is a wonderful 2023 planner that has a 12-month spread calendar, two different note sections, your own star rating where you could be your own Uncle Dave and you can color in the stars of how many stars you want to give a match. And coloring in stars is good for mental health as well too. I use it all the time. And then the last part is at the end of the year when we do the year end awards, you guys can fill in the blank for whatever you want. I have some pre written award templates, and then I have some blank ones for whatever you guys want to put. And then at the end, there's some pages for notes. You can use it for drawing. You can use it for bullet points. It's all up to you. But if you have not yet grabbed one, go ahead and grab one. I know that we are in the middle of the year, but still go do me that favor. Go to amazon.com/author/Marie Shadows. Now, with that being said, make sure you are signed up to my wrestling newsletter. It's an extension of what you hear right here. If we're not talking about certain topics, it might be covered in a wrestling news article. Wrestling news articles are free on my newsletter. Anything else that needs to be behind the paywall most likely be interviews, vlogs, because those take a lot of time and efforts. So if you want to help expand my brand and also just have a feel good time over at my newsletter, marieshadows.substack.com. The other thing too is my Discord. It's basically the Discord with a bunch of numbers and letters, and you'll find that on my Twitter timeline, on my Twitter profile for the Discord where we could talk about wrestling. And then if I go live on kick.com/Marie Shadows, where we could talk about more and have more interactive conversations, you could find it there too. You'll get the notifications. And yeah, that's it for like right now for the ads. But I do want to thank you guys for sitting through and listening to me talk about ads. Um, that was a damn good ad session, all off the top of my head too. Damn good
that's
ad session.
crazy.
Yeah, man, it happens when you're constantly saying the same things over and over and over again, and you already know what to say, so like it just free flows. Um, All right, down to the last two matches of the opening night for Best of the Super Juniors. Block B, we have Francesco Akira versus Master Wato. By the way, Master Wato has come a long, long, long way to be the best wrestler that he has been, man. Like, I am so proud of Master Wato's growth in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of Francesco Akira as well. He came in during last year's uh, Best of the Super Junior Tag Team Tournament with TJP and no wait no, I'm mixing it up. People are gonna be like, she doesn't know her shit when I do. Um, I remember that he came in during Best of the Super Juniors as well as also in singles. Um, he too has had like a tremendous growth in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then also had a tremendous growth by joining United Empire. And at first he's still called Nova Fireball, and he's still a freaking fireball. But when he first came in, he was really untamed, unrefined. Now he's refined. And he's actually like super good to watch. Like I really enjoy his growth as well, the same way as Master Wado. And TJP is also part of that reason for Akira to sort of like become an all-round, really good wrestler and like thinker and everything. Like I just love watching Francesco and TJP. But for this match, this was definitely a fast start match. Both Akira and Masawado know each other a little bit, but they don't have like a really deep history. Akira ends up doing a dive to Masawado onto the outside. There is this like really cool swing double kick that Akira does to Masawado. That was a really cool thing to see in the match. I was like, oh, no one does that shit. That's awesome. So springboard uppercuts, it was basically about like the feeling of this match, the story of this match was Akira, getting his foot in with Best of Super Juniors because excuse me, because both Akira and TJP are no longer Super Junior Tag Team Champions. Kevin Knight and Kushida are part of that. And by the way, I did say these are the last two matches. I lied. I am so sorry. I forgot there's more. I totally forgot there's more. But yeah, so like they're no longer tag team champions. So this match was Akira proving to everyone else and maybe to himself, I don't know, maybe to himself that he could beat Master Wado. However, that is not the case in this. Even though Akira had Master Wado lined up directly for his finisher, Master Wado ended up not getting caught by Akira's fireball finisher and ended up doing his own finisher, which I forget the name of it. Um, it is a Spanish name, but I keep forgetting the name of it, and ends up winning because his finisher is basically like a I don't want to say it's like a drive in a way, but it turns into a pin. So like he gets the best of both worlds by um bringing you down on like your shoulder and neck area and getting the pin. So Masuwato ends up getting his first 2 points for best of the Super Juniors. And then going to block A, uh this is Kushida versus Doki. First of all, Kushida, man, like WWE did not know what to do with him at all. NXT did not know what to
Yeah,
do with him
that's a
at all.
shame.
And then watching this match with him versus Doki, there was that like cynical, if I can say, like dangerous Kushida in this match where he knew, like, it felt like his reputation was on the line. Um, it felt like his reputation was on the line when he was facing Doki, and I was like, "Yo, this is a different Kushida that I'm watching." And they started out with chain wrestling, but Kushida was doing mainly like technical mat wrestling, using his judo skills against Doki. Doki looked like I don't, Doki's a really good wrestler. He's a really good wrestler. It's just that it felt more like him not knowing how to get out of certain situations when it comes to Kushida using his judo and the ground moves and stuff like that. I actually did put in my notes super serious mean Kushida, which is kind of funny to look at and see
You
even
said
said.
who? Who theory?
I said I put in my notes super serious mean
Oh yeah, yeah,
Kushida.
yeah. Okay, okay.
I, I,
I,
I yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I really put that because I felt like this was a meaner version of Kushida. And I'm not sure if that's because of the titles that him and Kevin Knight hold, which I mentioned it was the junior tag team championships. It could be that. Um, yeah, Kushida was working Doki's arm. There was like this nice roll through break that Doki did in order to break Kushida's hold because Kushida was like, "You ain't going nowhere," you know. And there was a lot of attempted pins. So towards the end, it picks up, and like the endings are always like my favorite thing to watch. But Doki managed to get the fucking win out of this match after Kushida was like, I'm gonna be so super mean and like do all this ground move and try to like maneuver and all this. Doki managed to do like his Skynet pin, like clutch pin thing that he does and gets the 1, 2, 3. Like he really like clutched it in. So that way Kushida doesn't kick out. And I was like, oh shit, Doki got 2 points. He fought for his life. These matches, man, like you don't really know what you get when it comes to the wrestlers and stuff like that. Like you may know, but like when the bell rings, they're like, I don't know what they discussed. I don't know what they're gonna do. And then when you watch it, you're like, wow, he really got away with it. So for Block B, we have the newest member to the United Empire, which is Dan Maloney versus Bushi. I felt like this one was a little bit off. And for some reason, whenever they have like somebody new come into like Best of the Super Juniors that never really fought with the guys, there's always something off, but it's not like in a bad way. I don't think like the matchup should have happened with like Bushi. Bushi has a different style of wrestling that like doesn't mesh well with Dan, because Dan is a straight hitter, a straight shooter. And this is just me like watching him for the first time. I've never seen a Dan Maloney match, but everyone speaks very high praises of him, especially like Osprey and Hinare and like the other United Empire guys and probably some other people too. But like this matchup was just a little bit weird. It's almost similar to um having like Alex Zane in the first Super Juniors, and him wrestling. I think Yoshinobu was like the one that was awkward for me back then last year. I would have to like go back and look, but it was the same concept. Anyway, this match was still good, even though like it was kind of weird. Uh, Dan Maloney kept hitting Bushi with a lot of powerful attacks. There was like, a lot of pin attempts. Um, and by the way, I think Dan Maloney has like the heaviest chops at the moment. Like if we ever did a panel of like rating wrestlers with like the heaviest of chops, Dan Maloney is gonna be in that shit. Cause man, every time he chopped Bushi, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, where are you getting this extra strength from, man? And by the way, Dan had to cut weight in order to make it into Best of the Super Juniors. So, I had to use Google's conversion rate because I don't know what 95 kilograms is, but it turns out to be like 195 pounds, like close to 200 pounds. So he had to cut weight in order to like be in this. Bushi managed to get a Hurricanrana on Dan to create some space because Dan was like following him around and being like, "You ain't going nowhere either." We had a cradle suplex package that like Dan does. It was like very beautiful. It was very beautiful how he did it. And I was like, that's a really good move. So that turned into, he did that to Bushi and then did a spear. Apparently, the gore got uh transferred down to Dan. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Um, I learned that from commentators, and then Dan does the gorilla killer, which is it should be like a reverse power driver. Yeah, should be a reverse power driver. And then pins Bushi and gets 1, 2, 3 and ends up getting 2 points. His first 2 points in his first ever Best of the Super Juniors 30. Um, for Tuesday, if you guys don't know, I do Tape Study Tuesday where it shines a spotlight on indie wrestlers that want to give me their matches and I give them feedback. Um, Live on Kick or Twitch, either one. But I think that for Tape Study Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, we'll watch some Dan Maloney matches because man, that was a very impressive first match for like somebody that doesn't know anything about this guy. And it was like he has the look. um I'm gonna say he has the voice. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it, you know, not so thirsty. But he has a look, he has a voice. He looks like the full fucking package, and looks like somebody that you could definitely push a division behind, like a championship behind as well too. So, he gets my high praises for that.
Yeah, I mean, I know who you're talking about too.
Oh, you
But
do?
huh?
You do?
No, I said I don't know who you're
Oh,
talking
okay.
about, but I said it sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's,
Um.
it sounds right. So there's a lot of I've seen wrestlers that just bodies look great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, there's normal, his bodies look great. Like going back in time, Chris Masters making his debut.
Yeah.
As a kid, I said, "There's no way they don't know what to do with this guy." Like, dude was unbelievably in shape.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
yeah, but nowadays in wrestling, it kind of it kind of does and doesn't matter your shape anymore because they got fat guys, they got skinny guys. I mean, people are doing everything these days.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that like if someone doesn't want to get into like the wrestler shape, they really don't. But I want them to be healthy at least because like, in this business, you're trusting somebody with your life and like vice versa, so you don't want something to happen where like, they always say accidents happen, but I'm always on the side of like as long as you're healthy and you're able to keep each other safe, your size probably doesn't matter. You know, that's all I care about when it comes to, wrestlers is making sure that everybody is safe. People still train with each other. And people still like keep it professional, um, to the best of their ability because shit always happens.
I hear you.
Um, I think that sometimes in life there should be that 5% wiggle room for those situations where it's like um misunderstandings or just one that category of when shit happens. There should be that 5% wiggle room, and then the rest could be like straight to the point. Like there's no getting out of it type of thing. But that's just me.
No, 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 no. It's not just you. It's not just you. It happens. It happens. It happens with everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
don't ever, feel like you're the only one going through something. There's always somebody out there.
yeah. There is. Um, all right. So now I will say we're down to the last two matches. It wasn't like before where I was like, yeah, we were, but yeah, now I'm telling you the truth. Um, so after the Block B match, we go to another Block A match, and this is Taiji Ishimori versus Taguchi, and this is serious Taguchi, which I am super happy that we're getting serious Taguchi. It is not comedy Taguchi. Taguchi is such a veteran that he's been in this way more than anybody else. And he's always like a good sport. And Taiji Ishimori, we were talking about him earlier. Him being from Noah, him being an Impact to get the X Division Championship title, and then like now he's in Bullet Club. He's no longer tag teaming with El Fantasmo. El Fantasmo is out of Bullet Club. So Taiji is on his own again to try to I was gonna be like to try and find the title. No, brain, not to try and find the title. To try and win Best of the Super Juniors. To take that trophy home with him. But I don't know. I don't know if he can do it. However, I do like the fact that again we got serious Taguchi. This match was kind of very interesting because Taguchi was working on Taiji's ankle the whole entire time. Like he did not like give him any space to breathe, anything at all. Like if Taguchi saw an opening, he went right back to Taiji's ankle. Which again, guys, work a body part. Like, work a hole, guys. Um Taiji did everything in his power to get away from Taguchi, and like he was doing super well. Excuse me, he was doing super well. However, towards the end of this, we had Taiji doing his La Mystica and then into the Bone Lock, which is like a very extended like crossface type of submission. And then Taguchi was trying to get to the ropes to cause a rope break, but Taiji was like, "Nah, fuck that, man!" And then rolled over to the middle of the ring, and that's when Taguchi tapped out. And Taiji ends up getting his 2 points for Best of the Super Juniors. It's a very cool, fun, small match. Nothing too big, but for people that are used to seeing comedic Taguchi, this is a breath of fresh air, and it's like, yes, um we get serious Taguchi. Now, we come to the opening match, which is Block B, Clark Connors versus Kevin Knight. We briefly mentioned Clark earlier, and for those of you that don't know, or if you do know, that's awesome. But Clark Connors has joined up with Bullet Club, with David Finley's Bullet Club, because David Finley is looking for savages and killers. And, when this happened, I immediately was like, yes, because, Clark is a very good wrestler. He is super, super good, man. Like, I love watching his matches. I love, just putting a spotlight on Clark. And Clark had that injury that kept him out for a while. And I guess the fans forgot about him, and then he turned right over to Bullet Club. He is no longer known as the Wild Rhino, even though, in my heart, he is the Wild Rhino, but right now he is 100% proof Clark Connors, which I'm trying to like work in a freaking tagline for that because obviously it's a reference to alcohol, and he does like to drink. I mean, mostly all of us like, to drink. I like to drink on social occasions. And if you give me wine, I'll be happy. I don't really like to drink liquor as much, or beer, but if you give me wine, that'll be okay. But for Clark Harness to be named 100 proof, he should have some type of like move that sort of like goes with it being 100 proof, because like technically if you drink liquor that is 100 proof, one, you could end up seriously probably dying, or you could become combustible. And I don't mean to like really be graphic or gory or any of that, but this is what happens when like my storytelling brain pops on. Like, I talk in like reality and like paint a picture of like how can we weave this in, like it's not gonna be, you know reality is the wrong word, but it's not really gonna be like true. You gotta keep it all kayfabe, right? So if he's gonna call himself 100 proof, let's keep it kayfabe with like some type of move that he can weave in. Oh, this is made with 100% proof Clark Connors, and that's why people like stay down and they don't kick out of the move. Like, it has to be a very powerful move if he's going to get over the 100 proof nickname. I was about to call it a gimmick. It's probably not a gimmick. But to get over that 100 proof, he has to come up with something else. He does this spear that's similar to like a football spear, but it looks like really cool because like it just stops in time when you're able to get the picture. What else does he do? Man, I need to like sit down and see his finisher and be like, can this be part of 100 proof? Now, look, I know I'm spending a lot of time on Clark Connors and not mentioning anything about Kevin Knight, and that's only because like I know Clark, like watching his matches, talking with him. And by the way, I did interview Clark Connors as well when he was the Wild Rhino. Again, go search on Spotify, Square Circle Podcast, or a chit chat interview series, and you guys could go watch it there in video form. So let me just switch over to Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight is a fantastic wrestler. He has the look as well, the package. Like, he's very fast and everything. Sometimes I think he's a little too fast because, when he does certain things, I'm just like, man, you're gonna get hurt. Like, relax. He has springs for days in his legs, man. But he is an actual treat to like watch on New Japan and just see him grow and see what he can do. He is learning Japanese from Kushida because that's his tag team partner. Again, they hold the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, and it's very, very fun to just see him grow and do these promos. And I think that on his Twitter timeline, he does like mini food videos of what he eats in Japan. So those are always good to watch. Um, he has that cockiness about him, but is not like overly arrogant just yet, because you guys know wrestlers get arrogant at one point or another in their career. Like, but Kevin does a very good job of presenting who he is and him being confident in the Kevin Knight name, which is very good. Not everyone tends to do that, especially if they give a wrestler like a character to play. Sometimes it takes a little bit uh to get used to that character, because it's like, it's not you per se. You have to play something else. But I'm behind Kevin Knight and watching Kevin Knight grow, and I'm also behind Clark, as you guys know as well. So in this match, Kevin Knight was like, nah, I know about Bullet Club. I know about Clark. Like, I'm not going to stand around and let him, like, dictate the match. So Kevin Knight came out fast from, like, 0 to 100. Clark did not know what hit him, but eventually Clark managed to turn the tables and basically get the advantage over Kevin. And Bullet Club, I am happy that Bullet Club is going back to Bullet Club tactics. If you guys don't know what Bullet Club tactics is, I basically made that word up or phrase up back in 2019 when I was covering Bullet Club, when Jay White was still there and Tama was still there and Loa was still there. And basically what Bullet Club tactics mean when I say it is that they use the outside to their advantage. They know that you know, they could get you in the ring. However, if you want to, they will want you to follow their lead in the match. So they will, use the outside to their advantage, throw you into the ring post. If there's a guardrail, use it to their advantage. And this came about because whenever Jay White would say, you breathe with a switchblade, what did Jay White always do in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Make sure that the wrestler follows into the outside like a little puppy. Even though I don't want to use that, analogy, but stay with me. You'll follow him out there, and when he basically throws your back against either the ring apron or the guardrail, like you're breathing with him because the more air that is expelled from your lungs, the harder it is you're going to breathe, and you're going to be matching his match speed. And he's going to be taking advantage of that. And eventually you're going to tap out, or you're going to let him get the victory via pin. So I came up with Bullet Club Tactics because of Jay White, because of the whole breathe with the switchblade. And now it's coming back with Clark Connors because he was using the outside to his advantage against Kevin Knight. And it just brings into more story because, Clark is a heel. Clark does, Bullet Club Tactics, and definitely don't want the crowd's appreciation or claps or anything like that. So why not hurt the most babyface person there is, Kevin Knight, on the outside? Um, okay, so however, that is, not to say that Kevin did not get any good hits in on Clark Connors. There was a beautiful power slam on Kevin. Sorry, Kevin. That Clark Connors did when Kevin jumped off the top rope and Clark caught him. And of course, Gato's out there. Gato has like a mini distraction. Like, when is Gato not distracting people, right? Clark does his spear and then does this front face suplex, which, again, if you hear this, if I mess up like what your finisher is, like, just let me know, so that way I can appropriately tell fans what it is. Because all I remember seeing that it was a front face suplex. Um, and then that's how Clark ends up getting the pin, because after that goes to pin 1, 2, 3, and Clark Connors gets his first 2 points of Best of the Super Juniors. And then, like I had mentioned before, that Clark had taken the steel chair that was given to him by Gato, and uh, Clark was, just hitting Kevin over the back with it to weaken Kevin. Because if you are injured during this tournament, it can mean one of two things. You'll be weaker for your next opponent the next day, or if you are seriously injured, you could get taken out of the tournament, and then there goes your chance at becoming the winner for the Best of Super Juniors 30. With all of that being said, that was the whole entire review of the opening night for Best of Super Juniors 30 at Hurricane Hall for May 12th, 2023. Wow. Whew.
That was really good.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Like really good. So don't, feel like you did anything off there. That was good. And
I
that's
so
good
appreciate.
this is recorded. Cause somebody's gonna hear this. And that was pretty good. I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, I appreciate
And
that
that I'm
from.
listening still.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I don't think people know the way that I podcast, because the last thing that I want is for people to group me in with the other podcasters that like will just say, "Oh, this is crap, that's crap." Let's not do this anymore, or why we're doing this. Like, no one like gives any other perspectives or be like, "All right, that wasn't good, so let's like try to fix it." Maybe we could try to do it this way next time. I just want people to understand like that is the type of podcaster that I am, to always try to give info and like elevate people. And yeah. Ugh.
And that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the point of well, I mean, not everybody, but I feel that's the point of doing these podcasts and stuff is to elevate people
Yep.
and to bring people together.
Yeah.
So
Man, but I'll tell you that watching Best of Super Junior it was fun. It was fun to just watch like all the matches. And there was like no other like matches in the previous years because it was like spread out over like 2 months. You know, you'll get the other guys in and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Best of the Super Juniors. Also, guys, New Japan Pro Wrestling does not pay me for any of this stuff. Like I just love talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I love talking about the guys and making sure that they have a spotlight here on the Square Circle podcast or on the Square Circle Society, the wrestling newsletter that you guys should be a part of. And anywhere else that like I talk so much about New Japan. And no, I don't get a commission if I tell you guys to sign up at New Japan World. It's $7 US with like an exchange rate of like a couple cents. It's not that bad, but I understand people have like different budgets. I understand that like money is tight. I totally understand that. Then I understand the other crowd too that, it might not be your thing. But I would just like to say that like the more that we support New Japan, the more that we'll get like maybe some cooler stuff. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna be like overnight, but we might end up getting some like cooler things here in the States. More events. Like who knows? The more that you support, the more that they'll say that they'll look at the numbers and be like, oh, people are very very interested. Also, I do know like if you guys post like videos and like gifs, they take it down and stuff. That's just because New Japan, not New Japan, but like their distributor, which I'm gonna mess up their name, so like you guys already know, like their copyright laws are so weird. Like I've been trying to like learn the copyright laws so I could understand it a little bit better. Because I understand like the copyright laws here in the United States, and I also took college courses on like copyright because I have a publishing certificate. So like, why not, right? I'd rather know this information. But I understand that like we can't post any of the videos or whatnot because it gets taken down and like DMCA and all that kind of shit. Uh, but to say that, I was just gonna wrap it up with the whole New Japan stuff is to get the subscription to help out because they do offer like a lot of good um, matches, and like you could go back and like see the history of New Japan and like your favorite wrestlers and see where they came from before like joining WWE. So like if you wanted to see where like Nakamura came from, you could watch his stuff. AJ Styles, you could watch his stuff. Like it's just a very good library of like really good Japanese wrestling, American wrestling. Like it has a lot to offer. You can even watch Impact on New Japan World. You can watch Impact. It'll be certain matches that include like people who are signed to New Japan, but you're still watching Impact. You're still supporting all the other wrestling stuff. Unfortunately, because you do not live in Japan, you won't be able to see the AEW Dynamite episodes, which are up on New Japan World. But yeah, New Japan World is like $7 US with like an exchange rate. I really do highly recommend people to go out and get a subscription at newjapanworld.com. Again, I'm not affiliated or endorsed by New Japan. I just freaking love New Japan with all of my heart. Even if like, you know, I don't always get my fantasy booking ways, but I'm along for the ride and I met some really cool people, wrestlers and fans through New Japan. So, just go get a subscription. And with that, do you wanna, King Reezy, do you wanna give your final thoughts? Because this whole thing was just about uh, New Japan.
I would. Can it be anything New Japan or just or Super Juniors or what we? Because I feel like okay, I get to this.
Okay.
There's a lot going on with New Japan. One thing that I find interesting is that Jay White is still repping Bullet Club.
Oh, okay. I guess I have no new information. Like, I don't understand.
I don't neither because I remember because it was weird because Juice and Finley broke up.
Yeah,
They broke up. They turned on each other. I think Finley turned on Juice. No, Juice turned on
yeah.
Finley. Yeah, it
No,
was Juice.
actually, they actually hugged it out, and that was it. No one turned on anyone.
Oh, why was I thinking one of them turned on another?
Well, because it would seem only right. But they hugged it out at the last, like, at New Japan Philadelphia Collision some
Right.
time ago. And they had this, like, huge ass, like, hardcore match. And then after that, like, they just hugged because the story was that Juice was done, and then all of a sudden, like, he joined Bullet Club. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I remember Juice joining Bullet Club. He looked great with Bullet Club.
Yeah,
But then Finley disappeared for a bit, and then Finley came and joined Bullet Club. And my question is, if they were both going to join, I know this probably wasn't in the plans, but if they would have known they were both, if New Japan knew they were going to book them both to join Bullet Club, what was the point? You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't have broke them up.
dude. Like, I understand the question. Like, I even asked myself the same thing. Like, I don't even know.
Because I loved them as a tag team.
Yeah, I really did too. They were really, great. And then when Philly went out on his own to prove to the fans that he could hold his own against, like, Osprey and, like, other people, I was like, this is great. So again, if anyone hears this, send this to David Finley and be like, bro, we need answers because I have a lot of questions. And I would love to get him on the podcast one day to talk about all that because I am confused because he really did say that in order for people to use the logo, they have to go through him. He has to approve it. And then we had, like, Bullet Club Gold in AEW, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell is happening. Um, I really don't, man. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, but Jay White's still out repping Bullet Club. Him and Juice. I mean, Juice has been hanging with him.
Yeah,
Um, I think somebody told me. I think I heard they were calling themselves Bullet Club Gold.
yeah, they are.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Um, but Chris Bay and Ace. For a minute, I was trying to figure out what's going to happen with them because they weren't around Bullet Club or mentioned for at least a few months since that happened. But then on Pro Wrestling, was it Revolver not too long ago?
Yep.
They showed up with Finley.
Yeah. I'm so confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too. So I'm like, okay, so they're just gonna rock with Finley's side, which makes sense because I don't see the Impact and AEW thing happening anytime soon or
Yeah.
anymore. Sadly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
but they're but but they're both benefiting though from
They
not
are.
working with each other. I felt like it hurt them more when they work with each other.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
They really are benefiting together. Like, I originally thought that I think almost everybody thought that once JY showed up in AEW that eventually we would have gotten, like, Chris Bay and Ace Austin to go over there. But now that you mentioned that you don't think that AEW and Impact thing is still gonna be, like, happening, like, really, really well, I could see that.
yeah,
But then also
I just because
too,
it didn't work out
yeah.
before. And it's sad it didn't work out, but I don't see it happening again.
Yeah, yeah, I could agree with you with that as well. I was also gonna add too that, like, but then to see the pictures of Chris Bay and Ace Austin showing up with Finley, uh, like,
Yeah,
all three of them look very fucking powerful. That you're like, oh shit, you don't want to fuck with them. And I think that maybe if they just stay with Finley and, like, Japan Bullet Club, it'll be a lot more better because it feels like Finley is in it for like, I don't want to say the younger talent, but the talent that doesn't get like enough spotlight, you know?
Hmm.
So like it works with Chris Bay and Ace Austin being with Finley. I just wish that we got more of them on like New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're doing wonderful, by the way, for people listening out there. They're doing wonderful. I love them. I will like give them a spotlight 24/7. But I just need a little bit more exposure, a lot more people talking about them, and just getting that buzz going for them because they do amazing stuff. They do amazing stories. They're amazing athletes, you know?
Yeah, they
Uh,
definitely are. I mean, they remind. Listen, they're like the Buck to me. I think they're like the Bucks in their prime
oh, interesting.
because I mean, Chris Bay and Ace at first, I could not see them two together. So they were first tagged. I was like,
Um,
I was like, why would they do that? But then
uh,
after seeing them perform together and shoot promos, I said, oh, this is perfect.
yeah.
I loved it. I loved it after that. There's great matches and everything. Yeah, big Chris Bay in that. I've met Chris Bay one time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but other than that, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I,
Well, hopefully in the upcoming months or maybe weeks we'll get like, some more answers just because of like this whole thing just needs to be like buzzworthy and like other stuff in wrestling mainly drama stuff that has nothing to do with kayfabe just needs to all go away. And like the spotlight got to return back to wrestling and kayfabe. So
well, it's not.
hopefully,
I agree. you know, but it's not necessarily just the kayfabe thing for me. It's just that people believe everything they read and they take personal stuff that has nothing to do with us, that is none of our business, and they try to take that away from, you know what I mean? Like the talent from that person.
yes,
You
100%,
know,
man.
like I
Yeah,
had
100.
somebody get on me and say, "How could you like somebody like Matt Riddle?" And I was like, "Well, why are you angry that I like Matt Riddle?" And when they told me, I said, "Well, that has nothing to do with me."
Yeah, yeah. I could already imagine what they told you.
Yeah.
I probably
So
know.
I mean, it wasn't just that, but I mean, it's other things. But I agree with you. People, it needs to go back just to the kayfabe thing. But I
Yeah,
guess with social media now, people love to expose everybody's personal life and flip it.
yeah, right. Uh, but anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up because I have to cook dinner and watch
All right. What you
some
cooking?
Friday Night SmackDown. I am going to be grilling some chicken breasts and making some white rice.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. All right, well, you have a good one. We'll catch up.
All right, man. I appreciate you being here and chatting with me.
No problem.
All right, enjoy the rest of your night.
All right.
All right, guys. I hope you guys can still hear me. Okay, so I guess since I'm the only one in here, I guess you guys can hear me. This is the end of the longest recording that I did. It was about Best of the Super Juniors 30, Night 1, Blocks A and B. All the matches, I went over them. I hope you guys get a subscription to New Japan World. It is worth it. If you guys definitely enjoyed this, make sure to share it, tell a friend. Make sure to sign up to my newsletter, which will have more information, more articles about Best of the Super Junior 30. So it is marieshadows.substack.com. Also, make sure to follow me whenever I go live on kick.com/Marie Shadows, where it can be a lot more interactive. If you have not yet heard my podcast and other podcast episodes, Square Circle Podcast on Spotify and or your favorite uh, podcasting platforms that you like listening to your podcast on. Um, I am trying to grow my Spotify followers. So if you enjoy Spotify, make sure to hit that follow button on Spotify, Square Circle Podcast. And if you have not already, uh, purchase a wrestling planner, please go do so. Amazon.com/author/ Marie Shadows. It would definitely help me out. It's made for you guys, for wrestling fans all over the world, where you can write down your wrestling notes, have a 12-month calendar, be your own star rater, color in the stars, and give your own year-end awards to whatever the hell you want to give it to. Also, if you guys don't know, May 20th, I am booked for Goddesses of War Wrestling. I will be a commentator alongside Candice Cordelia. I love that girl. She is awesome. We're going to be tag teaming on commentary, and we're going to be doing the commentating for Goddesses of War show on May 20th. If you have not gotten the tickets for that show, please head over to titan-championship.com, and you can follow the navigation there to go get your tickets. It is a double header, guys. You don't want to miss it. So the first event is the women's Goddesses Award. The second one is Titan Championship Wrestling. Ultimo Dragon is going to be there. Anthony Gongone is going to be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be PJ Savage versus Homicide. And then also on the Goddesses side, Riley Shepard is also joining me and Candace on commentary. I've been talking for a long time. My brain is sort of fried right now, but just bear with me. Please go get your tickets for May 20th. It's going to be in New Jersey. More details are definitely going to be on my Twitter timeline, but please go check out Goddesses Award, Titan Championship Wrestling. I love these two wrestling promotions out in Jersey. You're always going to have a good time. It's family friendly. It's fun. Like, I love being there. Like, you're going to love being there too when you get your tickets. And if you're there, I'll definitely give you a high five. You get to be on my vlog. You get to have shout outs and stuff. So it's going to be a very good time. So you see me over there at Goddesses of War and Titan Championship Wrestling. Don't be afraid to say hi, because I love meeting all of my fans. And again, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Square Circle Podcast. This is an exclusive Twitter Spaces. How the fuck do I fuck up my own outro by doing this on Twitter Spaces? Anyway, I'm your host, Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.